A tumor that doesn't have any blood vessels of its own can't grow any bigger than the head of a ballpoint pen. It's stuck there because it has no oxygen and no nutrients. But the moment blood vessels reach that microscopic tumor and start feeding it, that same pinhead-sized mass can grow 16,000 times larger in just 2 weeks. That explosive trigger happens when angiogenesis gets hijacked and the body loses control over it. That process is called tumor angiogenesis, and it's how I got started in this field. We set out to figure out how to develop biotech drugs that could starve cancer by cutting off its blood supply. We succeeded, and that approach is now one of the mainstays of cancer treatment. But the more exciting discovery came when we used those same testing methods, originally built to develop drugs, to test ordinary foods instead. It turns out there are more than 100 foods that can starve cancers in a similar way. Early in my research, while we were testing cancer drugs designed to cut off a tumor's blood supply, I dropped some green tea into the test system just to see what would happen. It was shocking how effective the green tea polyphenols were at stopping the blood vessels feeding the cancer. If I hadn't told the lab technician it was a natural compound, and instead said it came from a drug company, they would have been ecstatic. Mother Nature is remarkably good at this. The polyphenol in tea responsible is EGCG. Resveratrol, found in red wine, is another powerful anti-angiogenic compound. Genistein, the phytoestrogen in soy, can also cut off the blood supply feeding breast cancer, which runs counter to the popular myth that soy is bad for you. I recently saw a magazine cover claiming soy contains anti-nutrients, and it struck me as absurd because the proteins and phytoestrogens in soy look nothing like human estrogens when you actually examine them scientifically. They're not dangerous. They actually block human estrogen receptors, and they've been shown in human breast cancer patients to be anti-angiogenic, cutting off blood supply to the tumors. Tomatoes contain lycopene. Many of the same foods we already know are healthy plant-based sources of nutrition are now being rediscovered as powerful systems for cutting off the blood vessels that starve tumors. Blueberries get their color from a natural blue pigment called anthocyanin, which has been found to powerfully activate the immune system in a beneficial way without triggering autoimmune disease. They elevate T cells and natural killer cells, essentially arming the immune system's defenders. Eating about 1.5 cups of blueberries a day can raise T cell levels by roughly 88%. Athletes who eat blueberries regularly carry a higher baseline level of immunity, functioning more as a maintainer than an enhancer, keeping the immune system firing at its peak. What's also notable is that the same anthocyanin lowers inflammation. This addresses a common dilemma in the wellness world. People want to reduce inflammation while also wanting a strong immune system, not realizing inflammation is really a subset of immunity. We want strong immunity to protect against invaders, but also lower inflammation, and blueberries can deliver both at once. Broccoli is another strong way to boost immunity. It contains sulforaphane, actually a family of natural compounds that give broccoli its distinctive taste. The same compounds appear in kale and chard and other salad vegetables, but broccoli is particularly concentrated in them, and eating it has been shown to boost T cell levels. Here's a useful tip. The stems contain twice as much sulforaphane as the florets, so don't throw them away. If you don't want to sauté them, blend them into a soup. Broccoli oregano soup with a little vegetable stock is a genuinely tasty way to use the stems and get more sulforaphane. For an even bigger boost, eat broccoli sprouts, the 3 to 4 day old baby broccoli, which contain 100 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli. Studies on healthy 20-year-olds receiving flu vaccines found that those who also drank a shake made from broccoli sprouts saw their immune response amplified by 22 times without triggering inflammation. Like most people, when I'm told not to do something, part of me wants to do it anyway. Human nature resists deprivation, and most of us want to have our cake and eat it too. So rather than counsel patients by telling them to remove things from their diet, which is the easy, common approach built on fear, guilt, and shame, and which tends to make people feel bad about themselves, I try to empower people instead. People love feeling justified in what they already enjoy. In my book, I wrote about 200 foods that activate the body's health defenses, and I used to challenge people to look through that list and tell me they couldn't find a single thing they liked. Almost everyone finds something. I tell them to start there, because what they already like is already good for them, so they're ahead of the game from the start. As they keep adding foods they enjoy, that understanding that what they like is good for them lets them love their food and their health at the same time. This is the idea of anti-deprivation. Spend more time thinking about what to add to your body that's good for you, and you'll naturally spend less time thinking about the bad stuff, since good additions crowd out room for the bad. If you spend most of your time fortifying the body's 5 health defense systems, angiogenesis, stem cells, microbiome, DNA protection, and immunity, through food, then falling off the wagon occasionally, eating something indulgent or eating poorly around others now and then, is fine. Your health defenses act as a shield. Strict diets don't work long term, they're unsustainable. My focus is on helping people feel in control and recognizing that what they already like to do is often already good for them. Then there's kiwi, a small, fuzzy brown fruit, roughly baseball-sized or smaller, that opens up to a vivid green starburst of seeds inside. I always liked kiwi, but never ate it much until I started researching it, and it turns out to be remarkable. It's a great source of vitamin C and fiber. The vitamin C has a strong antioxidant effect that protects DNA, and studies show that eating 1 kiwi a day can protect DNA against damage by about 60%. Eating 3 kiwis a day can help the body repair already damaged DNA by a similar margin. It's simple to peel, chop into yogurt, eat plain, or blend into a smoothie, and it tastes delicious with a light citrusy flavor, all while protecting genetic material at a fundamental level. Kiwi is also packed with fiber, functioning essentially as a prebiotic food that feeds the gut microbiome. A study done in Singapore found that eating even just 1 kiwi can begin shifting the gut microbiome toward healthier bacterial species overnight. Once people learn something like that about kiwi, they tend not to forget it, and every time they see one afterward, they remember there's something good about it. That's really the goal of my work, making it second nature for people to make great choices.